The rain had not stopped for 3 days. It battered the canvas tents, turned the dirt paths into rivers of mud, and washed away every trace of comfort. Floodlights hummed across the forward operating base, their beams cutting through sheets of water. Soldiers moved quickly, heads down, ponchos flapping, every step a battle against the sucking earth beneath their boots. But not everyone was rushing. At the far edge of the base, inside a small plywood structure patched together with tarps and sandbags, Corporal Daniel Ruiz sat hunched over a weather-beaten map, his pen scratched across the paper, drawing arrows, annotating coordinates. Outside, radios crackled with static, voices overlapping in tense bursts. Most men knew him as the calm guy, the one chained to antennas, headsets, and signal reports. A background role. Not the one storming compounds, not the one kicking down doors. But tonight, that background role would become the only lifeline for 30 men pinned down miles away. Hours earlier, Alpha Company had moved into the valley north of the river. What was supposed to be a simple route clearance turned into a nightmare when insurgents detonated IEDs and opened fire from the ridges. Communications collapsed almost immediately. One by one, their radios failed under the storm, their transmissions drowned by the mountains, except for one faint, broken signal. Alpha, contact, heavy fire, grid, the rest dissolved in static. Inside the comm shack, Ruiz lifted his headset. The rain outside roared so loudly it bled through the walls. He adjusted dials, boosted frequencies, bent the antenna toward the storm like a conductor, straining for the last note of the fading song. "Alpha, this is base," he said, voice calm despite the racing of his heart. "Do you copy?" Nothing. He tried again and again, until at last, through the hiss of static, a voice bled through, weak, desperate. "This is Alpha, taking casualties. Request immediate support." Every syllable carried weight. Ruiz knew the valley. He knew reinforcements would never make it in time without precise coordinates. And he also knew the storm had eaten their GPS signal alive, which meant it was on him. For the next 4 hours, Ruiz became their lifeline. He called in grid after grid, calculating by hand using the old paper map spread across his table. When Alpha's signal faded, he pushed more power through the battered radio, climbing onto the sandbags to shift the antenna by inches. "Keep talking," he urged. "I've got you. Don't let go." Outside, the storm raged harder. Lightning split the sky, thunder rolling like artillery. At one point, a gust of wind ripped the tarp loose, sending rain pouring directly onto his desk. Ruiz didn't move. He just dragged the map under his body, shielding it with his own back, headset still clamped tight against his ear. "Alpha, adjust bearing 10 degrees east. You should see a ridge line. Confirm visual." Static. Then a broken voice. "Confirmed. Ridge in sight." He exhaled, relief flooding his chest. One step closer. The hours blurred. His pencil snapped, so he carved new notes into the map with the splintered wood. His throat burned from shouting over the storm. More than once the line went dead, and silence filled his ears like a death knell. Each time he cursed, shifted the antenna, adjusted dials, and somehow, miraculously, the voice came back. At last, near dawn, the rotors of helicopters thundered overhead. Reinforcements surged toward the valley, guided by the coordinates Ruiz had carved out of static and rain. When Alpha staggered back onto base hours later, mud-soaked, battered, carrying their wounded on stretchers, Ruiz was still at his desk. His uniform was soaked through, his hands raw, his map ruined beyond recognition. He looked up only when the platoon leader stopped in the doorway. The man's face was streaked with blood and exhaustion, but his eyes were clear. "You kept us alive," he said simply. Ruiz shook his head. "I just did my job." But the officer didn't move. He raised his hand, sharp and deliberate, and saluted. Behind him, every surviving man from Alpha followed suit, their boots squelching in the mud as they came to attention. For a moment, the storm outside seemed to fade. The rain became a backdrop, the thunder distant. He felt his throat tighten, his eyes sting. He returned the salute slowly, almost unsure if he deserved it. Word spread fast across the base. By evening, everyone knew. The calm guy in the shack, the one no one noticed, had kept 30 men alive through nothing but sheer will and a battered radio. They started calling him the lantern in the storm. Weeks later, long after the valley was secure and the rains had passed, Ruiz received a small box in the mail room. No return address, no explanation. Inside was a lantern, dented, scratched, its glass cracked but still intact. Taped to it was a note, written in uneven block letters, for the man who kept the light burning. Ruiz placed it on his desk, beside the battered map and the broken pencil. He didn't need medals. He didn't need speeches. That that lantern was enough, and in the silence of the comm shack, with only the faint hum of the radio for company, he finally allowed himself to smile. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because behind every uniform, there's a story worth telling.